people, and that's not sustainable, and it's not strategic, and it doesn't last long. I don't mean to sound so cynical and like negative. Honestly, I'm trying to be realistic here, and I think the only times we're really going to see change is, like Marie said, when we work together in our community, because that's so real. We don't support each other. I've even experienced with the work I do with Black Space, it's very hard for people to even convince them to come out to your events, and when you're in the system, it doesn't even matter how many titles or degrees you have, you still won't even be considered for a position. Like when we were in Ottawa, we went to speak to ministers on the Hill, and we spoke with the status of women, and bringing up your point before about opportunity, like are we taking the opportunities that are there? The status of women, we were in this meeting, and she was like, well, we have the opportunities there, but no one's applying. And then my auntie had to check her, and she was like, actually, we are applying and we're not getting in. And here are the receipts of all the Black women who are applying for positions in federal government, and we're just not getting in. So, and a lot of, like you said before, when that support we're not getting, it's internalized white supremacy. Every time we're not supporting each other, I want people to remember it's internalized white supremacy, and don't interpret that as, oh, white people are better and they want to help me. Interpret it as the system is so messed up that it has an effect on us collectively, and we shouldn't be, we always have to make sure we're protecting and we're loving each other, no matter how difficult and stubborn we all are, and we know how stubborn we are as a community. And I don't know, it's one of those things where the best way I can sum up how I've handled my burnout and feeling defeated is just taking that energy and pouring it back into my community. I've always gotten the results and the love and the energy I've needed back from the Black community. And I don't know, maybe some people approach it different ways, that's fine. But I think that there's a hashtag out there called Bet on Black, and that's the best way I could sum up to always invest in your community.
I think the other thing that I would add, and hearing your question about what really is progress, it's also being real about what the situation is or what your scenario is. I love the movie Hidden Figures that came out last year, I believe, right? There are systemic barriers, there are obstacles, but at the same time, if you only stop and look at the barriers and the obstacles, then yes, they're working against you. If you only focus on that, then you'll go nowhere. I encourage persons to work towards excellence and to support each other, yes, but to just aim high, still push high, even if you have to work twice as hard. We are building on the backs of persons who did the same, because the barriers were worse before, and yet our ancestors or forefathers, that they have come through. Yeah, it might be a tricky definition or great definition of what progress really is, but the reality is that even in my home country, which is predominantly Black, you still have to learn to play the game, and you still have to know the right steps to take. Again, you have to call a spade, as the expression goes too. It may not be the progress that we would want, or the utopian concept of progress, but it is a step, and we can actually just push ourselves towards higher levels of excellence so that we can be the ones to make way for others to make the change later on. I can say that that's something I'm benefiting from in my field. I have someone who has basically held an absurd standard of excellence, and that person has accomplished, and that person is bringing me along. So that is why I say, if you get that opportunity, push towards it, see what change you can make in your field, and help others along as you go. Again, calling a spade, it might not be what you want to see now, but it's just a reality that we live in. We have a second point answer to that question because it's going to come from like all levels, grassroots,
like
top
every
level.
single, everywhere, every corner of this nation. We need someone everywhere, and we don't have that yet.
I think sometimes we undervalue, I guess, the visual aspect of things. Like, you know, when people talk about Black Panther and all of these things or whatever, like I've been reading comic books since I was a kid, right? So that was exciting for me, but for at a larger state, it's the visual, right? People need to see something for it to be okay, right? Like you have to normalize something, and we haven't normalized a lot of things. We haven't normalized ourselves being in leadership positions. When I was running for office, there was, based on the part of the city I was running in, people were like, okay, well, do you have the support of the Jewish community, right? Do you have the support of the East Indian community? Do you have the Sikh community, right? Have you talked to the Filipinos, right? Because there was an actual person to go to, right? Like I actually sat in a temple and a man sat there and told people to sign a nomination form and told people to put money into a basket, right? People were like, all right, this guy's in charge, and that's how they do it, right? There's an actual process that exists, but if I said, did you talk to the Black community? Who on earth would you talk to? You know what I mean? Like honestly, who was that person? Or even collection of people, right? If I told you, go call 6 people, right? There's no visual, and there's some very old traditions that exist as far as organizing people and progressing people forward that we like to, like we romanticize democracy, right? But there's very authoritarian and there's very totalitarian aspects to the community structure that needs to be in place in order for a community to move forward, right? And people don't like accepting that, right? That there has to be somebody on top. And it's not just like, oh, we're all friends. No, there needs to be somebody there moving things. However that person gets to that spot, right? And I consider that progress. Some people would consider that regression, but I think at the end, whether it's the Council of Caribbean Organizations or whatever, right? Or it's COMI with the African community, that's progress, right? Having somebody or something that we can go to, right? If you're saying, hey, I need money to go to graduate school, I need $2,000, or I need $3,000, let's have a fundraiser. Call the Black community, right? The Greek community has that. I know people in all of these communities that have somebody they can call. To me, that's what progress looks like. Having some sort of organization or institution, but again, we're too proud, right? We're too proud to sit in an organization and just be somebody who's helping, right? Because I need to be in charge, right? It needs to be me, right? And we have to get past that, and I think that's one of the internal challenges that we have, where we're not just, okay, just helping. We're just being part of it. We need to be in charge. Whoever's in charge, we don't like them, right? And assuming that we're the only community that has problems. Every one of those communities has problems. They have internal politics, they have their struggles, they have all of those things. This is very simple. I gave this speech for Black History Month 5 years ago, right? Because I was saying, we have too many Black churches, right? We have Black churches that are dying because they want to be the Black church. We don't have enough people to have 4 or 5 Black churches in the city, right? We don't have the numbers. So why don't we consolidate the churches? No, because I'm the pastor of the Black church, right? And we have to stop pointing at everybody else and be like, no, these are things we can fix before we take on white privilege or white fragility or white whatever, right?